So fuck Illinois, fuck Mississippi, fuck Indiana, fuck Ohio, fuck all these states that have just shitloads of white people in it and no Indians. They're gonna name themselves after an Indian, and they're not gonna have any Indians in their state. Seriously, y'all want to go ahead and pick on Kentucky? Y'all way worse. I mean, go down the list. Go down the list. Like seriously, in Indiana, Indiana is like the worst place in the world to live for women to live. Indiana, it's got a ton of STDs and pregnant teenagers. There's no state funding for Planned Parenthood. They are against contraception. There's poor abortion access, and when you have STDs and poor ways of stopping that, that also leads to cancer and infertility. So, really, Indiana, the Hoosiers, who's your daddy? That's who you guys really need to be asking. Who is your daddy? Y'all even know who your daddy is? Indiana, you know who's your daddy? Bunch of Hoosiers daddies in Indiana. Bunch of Hoosier daddy in Indiana. And it's creepy. Land of Indians. That's what Indiana is known. The name of Indiana is literally known as the Land of Indians. Okay? So the Land of Indians, there's no Indians in the Land of Indians. Where's y'all's Indians at? How y'all gonna name your entire state Indians and have no Indians there? That's why when you drive through Indiana, it's eerie, okay? It is Erie, Indiana. That show was right. You could just hear the strange fruit on the trees. You could just, when you see all the Confederate flags and all the police state and all uh, just the plantation setting. It's like almost as if Indiana is the Alabama of the North. So Indiana, but I mean, there's some other shitty states around, right? Mississippi's pretty shitty state. Illinois is pretty shitty state. Illinois got a high unemployment, high poverty. So that's a state that Obama came from. Illinois is also named after an Indian term. Mississippi, another Indian state. It's number one for lynching. Mississippi, y'all number one for lynching. Y'all have more lynchings than every other state in the union. Y'all racist as fuck. Mississippi also high in teen pregnancy and STDs. 1/3 of your women are impoverished. So everybody's poor there. Your babies are getting pregnant. Everybody's getting STDs, AIDS and gonorrhea and syphilis and herpes and HPV and all the rest. Mississippi's the third highest in child mortality rate. Y'all ain't even letting your babies live. Y'all can't even raise your babies. Mississippi, y'all pretty shitty. If there was one state that we had to nuke to save the rest of the country, I think I would pick Mississippi. It seems like it'd be best, actually. But actually, a worse state than Mississippi, Ohio. Oh my God, Ohio. Fuck you, Ohio. Fucking Buckeyes. You guys are just a nut. Here you go. That's a nut. That's all fucking Ohio is. Buckeyes. A Buckeye's just a nut. It's a tree. Bunch of tree-hugging nutters. Your Buckeyes ain't that tasty. They're called Reese Cups, okay? They already own them, and they taste better. Okay, there's more chocolate. There's too much peanut butter in your all's Buckeyes. It's not that great of a candy. But Ohio's created William Henry Harrison. He carried his legacy on, right? William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison went ahead and wiped out the Indians in Ohio, and then he settled there, become the representative, senator, governor, just took over the place. So that's every Ohioan today is a William Henry Harrison lover. Also, William Jennings Bryan, come out of Ohio, the Scopes monkey trial that happened in Tennessee, but that was your Williams Jennings Bryan that went down there. Williams Jennings Bryan. William Jennings Bryan, how did he lose? He was for the popular, he was the masses against the classes. How did he lose that class war? You also, George Armstrong Custer, Custer's Last Stand. Which is actually in Indian folklore is a very good Indian success. So thank you all for your all's George Armstrong Custer. William Taft, you fat motherfuckers. Up in Ohio, you got an obesity rate of 30%. Y'all want to say Kentucky got a bunch of obesity problems, and we do. We do, it's true. But Ohio, you got the same amount, 30%. We all in the 30% around here. You all in the 30% club. You all fat, we all fat. Everybody's obese around here. Obesity also brings about heart disease and other disease, I guess, heart disease and I don't know, possible aneurysms, right? Blood clots and shit. So Who else? William Tecumseh Sherman. William Tecumseh Sherman came up out of Ohio. William Tecumseh Sherman is the one that introduced total warfare. Don't just kill the men, but men, women, children, all of them. Kill everybody. They want to call the Indians savages because they had pretty dark warfare tactics, right? But William Tecumseh Sherman, I guess Tecumseh, he took that fucking name and really ran with it. He thinks he's fucking Tecumseh. No, William Tecumseh Sherman, you ain't Tecumseh. You killing babies. You killing women and children. U.S. Grant, so is a drunk, come out of Ohio. Rutherford Hayes, Rutherford B. Hayes. Who the fuck is Rutherford B. Hayes? That's like the shittiest president. That's like Vermont. So I was talking to somebody in Vermont. They was like, hey, we got Calvin Coolidge. You'd rather mention nobody, actually. If all you got to brag about is Calvin Coolidge, don't mention him. Don't even say his name. Fucking Calvin Coolidge, Silent Cal. The business of America's business. That's Calvin Coolidge. Motherfucker didn't say shit. Andy Oakley, which is actually a cool guy. And Jeffrey Dahmer. A bunch of serial killing motherfuckers. A bunch of necrophiliac, cannibalistic, serial killer motherfuckers. Y'all killed all the Indians. Y'all created Jeffrey Dahmers. Ohio, come on. Seriously, Ohio, you all suck. Fuck you, Ohio. Fuck you big time. You know what? I'm reading this passage out of here about where Tecumseh's from. Tecumseh. Don't know if he was from Xenia or Pequot or Chillicothe. He was from Ohio, though. So I'm putting the Tecumseh hex on Ohio. Alright, Ohio, you all killed Tecumseh. You bastards raised Tecumseh, then y'all stole his land. William Henry Harrison motherfuckers. Y'all stole Tecumseh's land. And so now I'm going to curse your whole state with Tecumseh's ghost. Tecumseh's ghost is coming back. Watch out, Ohio. Tecumseh, all of them. Blackfish, Black Hoof, Blue Jacket. Blue Jacket, they're coming back up at you. Watch out, Ohio. Ohio. It's not a white person's state, Ohio. It's Iroquois. Iroquoian. When the lower Shawnee town was abandoned in 1758, the majority of its inhabitants moved up the Scioto and reestablished their village on the plains 4 miles below the city of Circleville. This became known as Chillicothe, one of the 5 villages of that name in Ohio. 2 other Chillicothe villages were located further downriver. One on the city of Ross County, which still bears the name, and another on the North Fork of Paint Creek, also in Ross County. After a peace treaty with Colonel Henry Boquet in 1764, those of the Shawnee on the Scioto and Muskingum who signed the treaty migrated westward and established 2 villages on the Little Miami and Mad Rivers. The town that became known as Old Chillicothe was built on the Little Miami River 3 miles north of the present city of Xenia, Ohio. This village became famous as the place where Daniel Boone and Simon Kitten were held captive. I think that was Blackfish and Blue Jacket. Blackfish and Blue Jacket kidnapped Daniel Boone. So they stealing the western frontier settlers. They kidnapping them. There's some badass, y'all got some badass Indians. The Shawnees like the most badass Indians in the eastern United States. The village became famous as a place for Daniel Boone and Simon Kitten. Both of them were held captive. Simon Kitten and George Rogers Clark, they're all in it. They're all in this genocide together. Fucking Clotter wants to say Daniel Boone only killed 1 Indian. That's all he admitted to. Come on. All right. So, about 12 miles north of it stood the town of Pequot on the north bank of Mad River. Most biographers believe that Pequot was the birthplace of Tecumseh. So Pequot, most biographers say that Pequot is where Tecumseh is from. According to The Shawnee by Jerry Clark. So, Pequot, both of these villages were destroyed in 1780 by an expedition from Kentucky under the command of George Rogers Clark. I bet you Boone and Kitten were in that expedition. The residents then returned to a 5th Chillicothe on the Great Miami River. It was against these villages in western Ohio that much of the activity of the Kentucky militia was focused. From the period of the Revolution, the Shawnee in this area opposed white settlement and established an alliance of western tribes to resist it actively. The Indian spirit was broken, however, by the force led by General Mad Anthony Wayne at Fallen Timbers in 1794. As a result of the subsequent Treaty of Greenville in 1795, Pequot was abandoned. The largest body of its inhabitants migrated north to Wapakoneta on the Auglaize River in Ohio. A Shawnee named Lewis, who attached himself to the service of the United States in the War of 1812, fighting against Tecumseh at the Battle of Thames, became the head of a village today called Lewistown, situated on Stony River in Logan County, Ohio, just to the east of Wapakoneta. In 1817, the Shawnee received their first title to land from the United States government for their settlements at Wapakoneta and at Hog Creek, where Lima, Ohio now stands. So yeah, then Andrew Jackson, he had one of the most inhumane chapters of American history ever, removing the Indians east of the Mississippi River. Many Shawnee had already voluntarily moved west of the Father of Waters. Some may have settled in Missouri as early as 1763. So yeah, okay, so Tecumseh Hex. You got Ohio. I just put a Tecumseh Hex on you motherfuckers. Tecumseh Hex, Blackfish, some of the other ones. Blackfish. We all know about Blackfish. Blackfish. He was Cherokee, right? Blackfish was a Shawnee. He wasn't Cherokee. Blackfish was a chieftain. Hold on, I'm looking it up in Wikipedia. Chief Blackfish. He was a Shawnee leader. Blackfish, known as native tongue Cottawamongo, Native American leader, war chief of the Chillicothe division of the Shawnee tribe. He was a Shawnee chief. Blackfish was a Shawnee chief out of Ohio. So Blackfish is also, the ghost of Blackfish is going to be putting a hex on Ohio too. Little is known about Blackfish. He only appears in written historical records during the last 3 years of his life, and just primarily because of the interactions with Daniel Boone and Simon Kitten. So you had Daniel Boone and Simon Kitten. Right, again, when the Shawnees were defeated by Virginia in Dunmar's War, the Battle of Point Pleasant, 1774, the resulting peace treaty made the Ohio River the boundary between western Virginia, what is now Kentucky and West Virginia, and American Indian lands in the Ohio country. Although this treaty was agreed to by the Shawnee leaders such as Cornstalk was there, signed a treaty. Blackfish and a number of other leaders refused to acknowledge the loss of traditional hunting grounds in Kentucky. So Blackfish said, fuck that treaty. Fuck the treaty that Cornstalk went ahead and signed. Cornstalk didn't know what he was signing anyways. And it was some bullshit. You all know anything about Lord Dunmar? That he was a British agent. Within a few years, you'd be fighting the British royalty. The American colonists would be fighting Lord Dunmar, John Murray, the fourth Earl of Dunmar, governor of Virginia. Violence along the border escalated with the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War, 1775. As a result, the Chillicothe Shawnees moved their town on the Scioto River further west to the Little Miami River near what is now Xenia, Ohio. Encouraged and supplied by British officials in Detroit, Blackfish and others launched raids against American settlers in Kentucky, hoping to drive them out of the region. In revenge for the murder of Cornstalk by American militiamen in November 1777, Blackfish set out another unexpected raid in Kentucky. 1777 was when you all assassinated Cornstalk. That's West Virginia. West Virginia assassinated, so there's a hex for West Virginia, right? Your Cornstalk hex for West Virginia. The winter raid by Blackfish in 1777 captured American frontiersman Daniel Boone and a number of others on the Licking River on February 7th, 1778. So he went 1 year and came back. Boone himself, respected by Shawnees for his extraordinary hunting skills, was taken back to Chillicothe and adopted into the tribe. The traditional tale is that Boone was adopted by Blackfish himself, although historian John Suden suggests that he wasn't. Boone escaped in June 1778 when he learned that Blackfish was going to be launching a siege of the Kentucky settlement of Boonesboro, which commenced in September of that year. September 1778, there's the siege of Boonesboro. The siege of Boonesboro. It was unsuccessful, and the Kentuckians, led by Colonel John Bowen, counterattacked Chillicothe the following spring. This raid also was unsuccessful, but Blackfish was shot in the leg, a wound which became infected and eventually fatal. So, because of that retaliation, Blackfish was killed. I guess that year, or the year after, 79. So there's another assassination. 1779, y'all killed Blackfish. 77, y'all killed Cornstalk, and then 80 '86, y'all killed Malunta. Your Hugh McGarry killed Malunta. So, come on, you motherfuckers. It's time for us to tap into our inner Native American and rebel. Occupy. Viva la Revolucion, America.